I want to talk about the proposed Golden Dome missile defense system. There's a request to spend $25 billion in this year alone. First of all, is this system designed to intercept a full salvo attack?
Senator, it's a multi-layer system that would include different types of salvos. Obviously,
so it's not just Rogue Nation. Okay.
Well, it's meant to. Yes, it's not meant to be just one nation. It could be utilized in
against Russia and
scenarios.
China, full salvo. So, what kind of reliability are you aiming to build into the system? Are we looking for something like 4 nines on intercept success? 99.99% reliability.
Obviously, you seek the highest possible. You begin with what you have and integrating those C2 networks and sensors, building up capabilities that are existing with an eye toward future capabilities that can come online as quickly as possible, not just ground-based, but space-based.
So against future capability too. So do you believe that we can build a system that can intercept all incoming threats? You think we could build that system? This is a very hard physics problem.
You would know as well as anybody, sir, how difficult this problem is, and that's why we put our best people on it. We think the American people deserve it.
So let me tell you what I think we're facing here. You're talking about hundreds of ICBMs launched simultaneously, varying trajectories, MIRVs, so multiple reentry vehicles, thousands of decoys, hypersonic glide vehicles, all at once. And considering what the future threat might be, it might even be more complicated than that. And you're proposing spending not just $25 billion, but upwards of, I think CBO estimated this at least $500 billion, other estimates $1 trillion. I am all for having a system that would work. I am not sure that the physics can get there on this. It's incredibly complicated. So I want to get to another issue that you're facing here. How much of the staff of the Office of the Director of Operational Test and Evaluation did you cut?
After collaboration, sir, with the service departments, the Joint Staff, and others, we identified that as a place where there were redundancies and multiple additional layers that were unnecessary.
I'll tell you what you cut. You cut
so
74%.
Most of it. That's what I was going to say.
Most of it. And was your decision to cut more than half of the Pentagon's Testing and Evaluation Office staff driven in part by concerns about the office's plan to oversee testing of Golden Dome?
The concerns were not specific to Golden Dome, sir. It was years and years of delays unnecessarily based on redundancies in the decision-making process that the services, COCOMs, and the Joint Staff, together with OSD, identified as a logjam that was not helping the process.
To get the reliability we would need, you need something that's at 4 nines, 99.99% reliability with all these challenges. And you cut the staff of the people who are going to make sure this thing works before we make it operational, before we give it to the warfighters. You got to go back and take a look at this. But I also strongly encourage you to put together before we spend $25 billion or $175 billion or $563 billion or $1 trillion, put together a group of people to figure out if the physics will work. You could go down a road here and spend hundreds and hundreds of billions of dollars of the taxpayer money, get to the end, and we have a system that is not functional. That very well could happen. And you're doing this just because the president, and I understand your role as the Secretary of Defense. You got to execute what the president says. But this idea, might not be fully baked. And you can get in front of it now and figure out and find out if you put the right physicists on this. And I'm not saying go to the big defense contractors. I'm going to scientists. And I know there's a questionable relationship with this administration and scientists, but go to some scientists, figure out what we would have to do to build a system, and then make smart decisions before we spend hundreds and hundreds of billions of dollars.
Senator, we're doing that, leveraging existing technologies and not premising the project on aspirational technologies, what we can actually do and would welcome.
Well, $25 billion in the first year is a lot of money. That's more than just figuring out if we have the ability to build a system that can handle a full salvo threat, hypersonic glide vehicles, MERS, thousands of decoys. Thank you, Mr.
Thank you,
Chairman.
Senator Kelly. Senator Sheehy.
At today's Senate Armed Services Committee hearing, Senator Mark Kelly, Democrat, Arizona, pressed Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth about the proposed Golden Dome missile defense system, which carries a staggering $25 billion price tag for this year alone. Kelly began by asking whether the system is designed to intercept a full-scale, multi-nation missile attack, not just isolated launches from rogue states. Hegseth confirmed that the system would be multi-layered, integrating both ground-based and space-based technologies, and capable of handling various types of missile salvos. Kelly pushed further, questioning the reliability goals of such a massive system, asking whether the Pentagon expected a 99.99% success rate. Hegseth responded that while the goal was maximum reliability, achieving perfection in missile interception remains an extremely complex physics problem. You would know as well as anyone, Senator, how difficult this problem is, Hegseth said, emphasizing that the department is deploying its top experts to pursue the project. The Arizona senator expressed deep skepticism about the feasibility of intercepting hundreds of intercontinental ballistic missiles launched simultaneously, each carrying multiple re-entry vehicles, hypersonic glide weapons, and thousands of decoys. He noted that even the Congressional Budget Office estimates the system's long-term cost could reach $500 billion to $1 trillion. "I'm all for a system that works," Kelly said, "but I'm not sure the physics can get there." The discussion then turned to Pentagon staffing decisions. Kelly accused the Department of Defense of gutting the Office of the Director of Operational Test and Evaluation, cutting more than half of the personnel responsible for ensuring weapon systems work before they are fielded. He suggested the cuts might have been driven by concerns over the office's oversight of the Golden Dome project. Hegseth denied any link between the staff reductions and the missile program, insisting the changes were made to eliminate redundant bureaucratic layers that caused years of delays. He said the decision was based on collaboration with the service departments, the Joint Staff, and combatant commands, all of whom viewed the office as a bottleneck. Kelly was unconvinced. He warned that cutting testing staff while spending billions on an unproven system could lead to catastrophic waste. "You need to go back and take a look at this," he said. "Before we spend hundreds of billions of taxpayer dollars, we need to know if the physics even works." He urged Hegseth to bring in independent scientists, not just defense contractors, to determine whether the system could realistically intercept a full-scale nuclear attack. Hegseth maintained that the Pentagon is already taking a cautious approach by building on existing, proven technologies rather than speculative ones. Still, Kelly warned that the administration risks going down a path of enormous spending with no guarantee of functionality. "You could get to the end," Kelly said, "and we have a system that is not functional." That very well could happen. In closing, Kelly underscored the gravity of developing a missile shield that might not work as advertised. $25 billion in the first year is a lot of money, he said. That's more than enough to first figure out if we can even build a system capable of defending against thousands of decoys and hypersonic glide vehicles.